How's it going, man? Yeah, I thought I'd better just run the old comb. Do you know the real spiky, thin, spaces between the teeth sort of comb? If in primary school you'd be rubbing your head against probably some girl, the pretty girl, on the desk next to you. Oh, do you know what I mean? But you took home mitts. That day you took home mitts. Anyway, regardless, Barry Jones against Palacious, this Cuban Colombian. Do you know what I mean? Like, we like to see from guys that side of the water and, from certain regions and stuff like that. He's up against this little Welsh collier, you know what I mean? A guy that probably, 8 to 14, learned most of his lessons down in a fucking coal pit, you know what I mean? And the Canary's not even native to, Swansea or Cardiff, I believe. And so for me it was an exhibition in the fact that this little working class guy with a stub nose, shaved head, and seemingly to all appearances couldn't match this flashy Hispanic, actually came out and proved the point. Said, well, I've got more variation, I've got more moves than you, my timing's better than you. You got me up against the ropes, I proved to you that I've got better defense, my upper body movement was, and all of this, of course, escaped the attention of Jim Watt. I don't know what his game is, you know what I mean? I'm glad he's been finally retired, like, good little boxer in his day and everything. Again, personas and such, devil's advocate, what have you. I think he maybe was a little bit jealous of what Barry Jones could do. And maybe either people were jealous of somebody like that, or they were very respectful, but very quietly. Everything's a little hush-hush. Because he came out in the 3rd minute of the 2nd round, in the first 2 minutes of the 3rd round, he absolutely declared his suitability for the post, and then I don't know what happened. Maybe he was getting an earful from Jim Watt, of all people, you know what I mean? And he thought, well, do you know what? It's the Colombians usually who are a little more skillful, but I think I've made my point. Now that could be the misunderstanding of a twisted young Celt. Some champion of the underdog and stuff like that, and I hope Barry Jones doesn't ever say this, you know what I mean, because he'd probably cringe all the way back home and say, well, you're not telling me nothing I ever didn't know, And all the while, the erstwhile young, Irishman is saying, well, I've got to get this message across so that any young boxing scholar can hear it. They probably wouldn't fucking understand. They wouldn't understand, you know what I mean? So I guess Barry Jones does what he does. I was really glad to see it. What he'd done. And it was a little bit like Calzakian times. There must be certain things they teach in those Welsh gyms, And Jim Watt, come on, like, even Barry McGuigan, wouldn't throw him a bone. Well, he's very lucky to be here. He has no power whatsoever. We know he's feather-fisted. It's like, Jesus Christ, I watched him fight in the 2nd round and he was throwing rocks. His straight right hand was absolutely demonstrative. It was diabolical. It was deconstructing the guy. And the guy was very lucky that Barry Jones let up a little bit and says, do you know what? The young collier's not supposed to prevail. Not in this instance. He got the win on points. Do you know what I mean? And it was a great exhibition also in restraint. I thought, and it's something he's mastered, you know, all his days, because most people don't like to be confronted with unlikely expert. They don't want that. So you learn just to tuck it back and only really say bits and pieces and stuff and keep it kind of humble, you know. But he fought on the inside. He was reminiscent of Duran at times as well. It's a bit spurious. It's a little bit spurious, but I stand by it. So very good fight. I don't recommend that you watch it if you've any kind of susceptibility to, you know, idiotic pundits, and of which Barry Jones certainly isn't one. Although he might wear that hat from time to time, I'm not really sure. Anyway, I'd like not to hear back from anybody involved. Apart from Kim Buchanan, maybe. Good night, guys. Good night. And, you know, if you're going to watch boxing and you're going to take something away from it, you know, watch it properly, you know. And if you feel you're missing something, then ask your uncle, perhaps, or get humble. And, you know, take your beating, whether it be verbal, argumentative, you know, come back, learn a little more so that you can appreciate things. Anyway, I think that's quite enough about the Welsh, you know. Might have to move on to the old Scots next. Really, you know, deconstruct Jim Watt next. Jesus Christ, you know. Some mackerel. Anyway, guys, take it easy. Good night.